Starts now.
New tonight, the results of an annual study concerning Nebraska students and schools.
The numbers from the state providing key insight into academic performance. First Alert 6's Philip Patafimo looked at the numbers and tells us where your child's school ranked.
Statewide, 3rd through 8th grade students are considered proficient in English language arts. 3rd graders overall did see a slight drop in that category, and there's already a plan to address that dip.
The Nebraska State Board of Education has a goal to increase 3rd grade proficiency in English language arts to 75% by the year 2030. This year's scores outline the work that will be a focus moving forward.
Those numbers change at the high school level. Nebraska juniors are 45% proficient in ELA, 42% in math, and 49% in science. Those rates are up from the previous year, except math proficiency, which saw a slight decrease. At the local level, Omaha Public Schools has seen growth in the last 3 years, but still ranks near the bottom in most categories. Other districts in the metro like Elkhorn, Millard, and Westside are doing better than OPS. In a video sent to First Alert 6, OPS addressed areas of improvement.
We also, an additional sort of positive trend that we're seeing is 350 more EL students are on track than in 21-22, and we need to continue to support growth for our multilingual learners across the district. We want to see that number increase significantly.
Kramer says the district is working to close gaps between student groups and schools.
We also recognize we have work to do in terms of closing gaps and accelerating growth. We're focused on our multilingual learners, how we can keep more students on track with regard to learning English, and we want to see more growth at high school and middle school.
The Board of Education issued AQuest scores that classify schools on a scale from excellent to needs support. Of the 323 schools ranked statewide, 33% of schools were given a great score, 8% are ranked in needs support, 7 OPS schools moved into the good category. In Omaha, I'm Philip Patafimo, First Alert 6.
Elkhorn schools led the way in categories like graduation rate, ACT scores, and attendance rate. It did drop 2% in math from last year based on the testing.